Do you remember the year you asked Santa Claus for a special present? You wished and you dropped hints. Then on Christmas morning, there it was under the tree. Now that we're adults, it doesn't happen quite the same way. And frankly, a lot of us just want a gift card so we can go buy a new set of colored pencils. Sure, you already have 6 other sets, but these new pencils are so much better. Today, let's get real about why you're always wishing for more pencils and why owning every color changes how you see color. In more than a decade of teaching adult art classes. So, how do I say this? Okay. In every group of art students, you're always going to have members from the opposite ends of the art supply spectrum. So, in every group, you're going to have a couple of penny pinchers. If they can get away with using something they found in the back of a junk drawer, they are all in. But there's a growing group of colorists on the opposite end. These are the folks with more colored pencils than me. I'm sure you've met someone like this. Maybe you are someone like this. They don't just have every set of the big brand pencils. They also own all the niche sets made by everyone else. They own artist grade and student grade and craft grade pencils. They've got 14 brands I've never heard of. Some of you are sitting on every colored pencil ever made. So I suppose this is the wrong time of year to make this video. Everyone's buying presents right now. But then again, maybe this is the right time for you to hear this. I'm one of those stick in the mud people that isn't impressed by a really big pencil collection. And here we are at Christmas, and you've been obsessing about the hot new set of pencils. You know you don't need them, but you want them anyway. Settle down, Veruca. Your big colored pencil collection is preventing your artistic growth. And we need to shine some light on the big myth that got you here if we're ever going to solve this problem.
But Amy, what's wrong with a big colored pencil collection?
I'm not going to lie. There are many skilled artists with very large pencil collections. I'll get to the reasons why this is normal for professionals in just a moment. But when it comes to hobbyists, colorists, and especially beginner artists, more is not good. I know it sounds unkind to say this, but I've noticed over the years, and other instructors have seen this too, there is almost an inverse relationship between your pencil skills and the size of your pencil collection. Having everything at your fingertips is not helping. I have 3 kids, and they can tell you I was always calling someone by the wrong name. I bought pepperoni pizza for the cheese-only kid. One year, I forgot somebody's birthday. But I would have been an absolute mess if I'd had 300 kids. Every colored pencil, even 2 similar colors from the same set, every pencil in every set has different characteristics and behavior patterns. The reason Prismacolor makes 4 yellowed pencils is because they're all a little different. This one is opaque, this one is translucent, this one is really soft, and this one is kind of crunchy. Everything in this set has a unique personality, and to be good at colored pencils, you gotta get to know them all individually. Their ups, their downs, their likes, their dislikes. You are a pencil parent. Don't adopt more kids than you can handle. Some of you really don't know what you have, and you're relying on swatch charts and spectrum charts, and you make pencil conversion guides. Some of you need indexes for all your charts. You've got some pencil gems, and you've got some duds, but you don't know them, so you're buying pepperoni pizza for everyone. Just because they come from the same box doesn't mean they're the same thing. And if this is news to you, you've got too many pencils. You haven't used your pencils enough to spot the differences between each color. You haven't focused on any of your pencils enough to actually understand what a quality colored pencil feels like and how it's supposed to work. Okay, so let's talk about why you're buying too many pencils. And I know you're expecting me to rain fire here on the evils of consumerism and the vast conspiracy between Big Colored Pencil and YouTube. Actually, no. You're a big kid now. You should be able to see through a marketing gimmick. Nope. There's a deeper reason why you're buying tons of pencils. There is a big myth in the colorist community. You hear it constantly. You see it everywhere in videos. Teachers are teaching this. It's just part of the coloring air that you breathe. And the first time I saw someone do it, I was like, wait, what? There is a fundamental difference between the way a colorist and an artist uses colored pencils. And don't fill my comment section with aggrieved complaints. This isn't a judgment thing here. I'm not saying one is good and the other one's bad. We just do things differently. Colorists really want to think that professional artists and hobby colorists are all doing the same thing. Like the only difference between us is a little bit of luck and some pixie dust. But there's a totally different approach to color between the two camps. You see this as a red pencil. A colorist sees the color, but an artist isn't really looking at the color. And this is the difference why you think you need a big colored pencil collection. And it's why you wake up at night in a cold sweat because maybe somewhere, somebody out there, someone is having fun with a pencil you don't own yet. So when I say artists don't really look at this as a color, what in the heck am I talking about? Well, if you've been watching closely as I work on this ornament, every once in a while you're going to see me pick up a weird color. And it's not because I'm trying to add crazy colors. I want the crystal to look gray, but I see so many flavors of gray and I can't do all these flavors with gray pencils. So, all right, maybe this is a bad example to just jump right in on. And I really want to explain this clearly for you. Let's rewind back to the beginning and I'll demonstrate the difference between the colorist approach and the artist approach with just the golden cap. Okay, so if you're a colorist, you're going to look at this photo reference and see these colors. Then you'll flesh that out into a blending combination. So you might color the caps something like this. We're blending the light gold into a light medium gold and then into a medium gold and a dark gold. And okay, maybe we'll add brown and black to darken the darks. But see how each color is going down onto clean white paper? And how the colors are really only blending where they butt up next to each other. Okay, now maybe some of you overlap the colors a bit. Like you start light and then you work darker and then you blend it out on the way back down. But either way, you're trying to hit all these major colors and you're using in-betweeners to span the gaps. This is a very pencil-intensive method. You gotta own all the right colors on this spectrum from light to dark, and every pencil is given its own little space to show off its own special color. That's a very literal interpretation of every pencil. This is the color on the label, so this is the color it's supposed to be on paper. Ugh, why? Honestly, if you told me this is how I have to work for the rest of my life, I'm quitting. I don't want to be trapped like this. Now let's compare this to the artist approach. Here's the colorist supply list. And here's mine. Different, right? Okay, so here we go. I'm doing a base layer of Naples yellow, and I'm leaving space for the white shine on the right side. Then, I'll admit it, I was feeling kind of chicken here. At this point, I'm only 2 minutes into the project, but I'm not warmed up and I'm not brave yet. But anyway, I'm putzing around here and I'm procrastinating by using a goldenrod color to kind of map out the differences between the top of the cap and the sides. But I didn't really need to do this. All right, Amy, stop screwing around and get serious. Let's add the darks with a sepia pencil. The sepia isn't dark enough, and it's looking kind of flat and dull. I mean, okay, that's what sepia is. It's supposed to be flat and dull. So to give this color some life, I'm adding iris purple over the top. Now let's fill in more of the tooth with the Naples and the goldenrod. But here I kind of realized that even that goldenrod isn't as warm as I wanted. So now I'm bringing in the big guns with a bright red. This is really going to warm it up. Filling in some more of the tooth. Now I'll work on that loop for a bit. I'm just using the same pencils here. And then I went back to the cap because I realized that the darks aren't reading quite as dark as I want. So this is indigo blue, and it's going over the top of the purple, which is over the sepia, which already has Naples yellow underneath it and over it. And finally, I add some fine lines with a hard Pablo pencil. Okay, so one more time. Here's the myth that you've bought into. Every one of these pencils is supposedly necessary to color something gold. Meanwhile, I'm using this, and this color, with this one to make things warmer, and this to add some interest, and this one makes it darker. It's because this isn't red. This is warmth. This isn't purple. This isn't indigo. They're not there to be purple or indigo. And here's the thing. This isn't some magic red pencil. I have used this pencil in the last 8 projects that I've colored. I just grabbed the nearest red. I didn't have a big debate over the merits of Scarlet Lake versus alizarin crimson, because I didn't want red. I wanted warmth. I don't need 14 specific shades of red pencils to make it through the day. I'm good with 1 red, maybe 2. And I'm coloring a gold cap without using a big old blending run of dirty yellows and brown. It's not about the color. It's about what the color can do. So let's return to coloring the cut crystal facets. I'm using 1 gray pencil. If I want a lighter gray, I just don't press as hard. Then I'm using a blue pencil. And while I do see blue in some spots, I'm also using it in areas that are not blue. This pencil can be blue, but it can also make the gray cooler. Where I see a warm gray, out comes that red pencil, same one that I've been using for months now. And if I see a bit of yellowish gray, I will borrow something from the cap. So like this yellow. This pencil is short for a reason, folks. I go through boxes of indigo pencils every year, despite the fact that I almost never color blue objects. Because this isn't blue, it's cool darkness. The big expensive myth is that you need specific gold colored pencils to color a gold cap. Then you need completely different, specific gray colors to color glass. And if there was a red ribbon here, you would need red pencils. Everything you color needs its own special list of colors, which all literally match the color of that object. And you tell yourself it's okay because it's not like you're buying the most expensive colored pencils. Hmm. See how this gets out of control really, really fast when you let the pencils determine what color they are.
But Amy, I've seen artists working in studios full of colored pencils.
Well, part of that is because of YouTube and social media. And having this in my background lends me some credibility. But the other thing is, though, you see what you want to see. So you see this stuff and you just assume that I have 3 more walls covered with more art supplies. But I don't. This is it. But I will admit, I do have a lot of colored pencils. Why? Well, for starters, I've been doing this for 30 years. In that time, I've collected a lot of stuff. I don't use it all, but I have it. The last new set of colored pencils I purchased was the Luminance expansion set, and that came out in like 2020. Next, most of the colored pencils I have are duplicates. This is inventory. Most of what you see in any art studio is inventory. It looks like a lot of stuff, but it's a lot of the same stuff. I have 12 Prismacolor lime peel pencils, not 12 brands of lime pencil. The next reason a professional has lots of pencils is because we go through phases and we get bored. For instance, I used to use Prismacolor olive green on everything. I'm not kidding. For like 10 years, there wasn't a project that I put out that didn't have a healthy dose of olive, either on the green objects or as a way to shade red or purple. Then one day, I just switched from olive green to Prussian green. No real reason. I was just tired of the olive. And my Prussian green phase lasted for, well, up until about last year. Now in 2024, it's this guy all the time. Everything has peacock on it. Every artist goes through phases, and some of what you're seeing in the background is old colors from old phases. Another reason professional artists have a lot of pencils is that parenting thing that we talked about earlier. Every red pencil is a little different, even when the colors look exactly the same. Some are hard, some are soft, some are transparent, some are opaque. And in one set of pencils, they don't give you all 4 versions of that same red color. So every artist has a hit list. We're always on the lookout for certain versions of our favorite colors. I'm looking for a hard version of this. I'm looking for any version of this color. And I'm always on the lookout for translucent pastel colors. So that's the view from the professional studio. There are reasons we have lots of pencils, but we're not using every pencil on every project. It doesn't matter anyway, though, because you're not manufacturing art for a living. There's no logical reason for your collection to be bigger than mine. So this video is a warning. You don't need a ton of pencils to make good art. In fact, because you have to parent these pencils, it's easier to learn and grow as an artist with fewer colors, not more. But I also don't want you to swing in the opposite direction. There is such a thing as not having enough colored pencils. There's a minimum requirement to be able to function. I wouldn't wish this set on my worst enemy, not even Anna, who broke my finger in middle school. I want you to learn how to layer and mix your colors. But to try and do that learning with 12 circus colors, it's cruel.
Okay, Amy, do you have a list of starter pencil colors?
No, and I'm not sure that I should make one. Why? Because I don't know you. I generally have students begin with a box of Prismacolor pencils. They have a good range of useful colors. It's a nice mix of opaques and translucents. And when it comes to artist grade pencils, Prismacolors are less expensive, at least in the US or Canada. And I know they're more pricey in Europe and Australia. You guys have Derwent, we have Prisma. Now, Prismacolor has some haters out there, and they're very vocal. I'm not saying Prismacolor's perfect, but even with the issues, they're still excellent for learning. Anyway, I recommend either the set of 72, or if you can afford it, get the full set of 150.
But Amy, didn't you just say not to buy a lot of pencils? Now you're recommending a big set?
Yes, because this is all you need for a really long time. The big set is the smart move because it's the lowest price per pencil. If I told you 30 colors, you would pay twice the price open stock. But there's more value than the price per pencil. Because you're new at this, we don't know which pencils you're going to use most. Replace the pencils as they get too short to use. They're all available open stock, but keep track of the replacements. As you learn and grow, you will notice that some pencils have never been touched, while you've blown through 4 of this other pencil. White. It's probably going to be white. White will be one of your most popular colors. Get extra white pencils. It's number 938. Even the folks who hate Prismacolor still love the white pencil. But all your other most used colors, those are going to be determined by the kind of things that you like to color. And that's why I can't tell you which colors to start with. I can tell you which colors I use. I've got about 30 colors, and I use these all the time. I'm like freakishly consistent. I naturally keep using these same colors in every brand. But my list only works for me. You're coloring different stuff, and you have different taste. Your list will be different than mine. And here's another reason to get the biggest set you can afford. Sometimes you absolutely will need this weird one-time color. You'll be working along and you just need a lighter pink or a greenish brown. You would never normally use that color, but you need it now. If you've got the set of 150, that color is just sitting there waiting for you. You don't have to settle. You've got choices. So a lot of the pencils in my collection are only here for insurance purposes. Let me remind you, you only have to invest in the big set once. After that, it's all individual as-needed replacements. This one set is good for learning, but it's excellent for growth. Whew, that's a lot of colored pencil info. And I know some of you wish you'd heard it before you started buying all the imported value sets. So what should you do with your massive pencil collection? Well, keep them, at least for now. As you keep learning, you'll figure out why cheaper pencils are frustrating to work with. And at that point, you can decide which value sets are worth hanging on to. The rest can be donated to a young person or a senior center. When you know your pencils better, you'll find that you don't need as many colors. There's the Colorist method, where every pencil is used exactly for the color that you see on the label. And then there's the artist method, where we're weaving layers of our favorite colors together, using colors for what they can do rather than the way they look. If you want to see more of my colored pencil logic in action with this same red pencil, but this time over marker, watch how I color a metallic golden star here.